Many people get mixed up when they are trying to use in English the possessive case. The possessive case is that form of a noun that shows ownership. When I talk about Bill's boots, that's the way I write Bill's is his name, Bill, plus an apostrophe S. To confuse things in English, we also use an S, we add an S to the end of the word to denote a plural, in other words, more than one. And so the apostrophe S is for possessives, and the plural is just the same letter, S, just added. Okay, I'm going to go through the rules now. First of all, to go over plurals. For plural, usually we just add an S. For some words in English, we add ES, largely because the form of the word doesn't sound right, if you like, if it only has the S or it doesn't fit right with spelling. That's something that you do have to learn, and I don't think there's terribly much logic to it. Maybe there is. That's not the purpose of this presentation. However, when we go to the possessive, we use an apostrophe and the S, okay, to denote a possessive. And so we talk about Fred's dog. Fred is the person who owns the dog. It belongs to Fred, so we add the apostrophe S to Fred's name to denote that it's the dog belonging to Fred. If we have more than one, we have a plural noun, like dogs, we put the apostrophe after the S. There's a certain logic to that, because the DOGS tells us that there's more than one dog. The apostrophe denotes the possession. That it's not simply the dogs are running down the road. It's rather that the dogs as a group possess something. The dog's yard. If I've got 5 dogs in my backyard, I will use dogs because there's a plural of them, and then I'll put the apostrophe at the end. In rare cases, usually words that finish with an S, it is a little bit more complicated. The apostrophe can still go before the S, but we won't worry about that for this presentation. Okay, some examples. Frog is singular. Frogs is plural. If I have one frog owning something, the frog's pond, then it's apostrophe S. And if there's more than one frog, so there's frogs, and they all own something together, again, it could be 5. The pond which is occupied by 5 frogs is the frog's pond. The apostrophe goes after the S. For pronouns, and there's a number of other exceptions, we have completely different words. So the personal pronouns, you know what that means? Your, which is possessive, as opposed to your, which sounds the same, but it's spelt Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, is actually the contraction of you are. You're a fine chap. Y-O-U apostrophe R. Y-O-U-R means there's one of you, and I'm talking about something that you own. There are a few odd cases. One that stands out is sheep. Like the word you, they're both singular and plural. You can talk about a sheep's paddock, in which case you use the apostrophe S. You don't use S apostrophe if it was a mob of sheep having their paddock, because sheep already is singular or plural. And the last one, which is worth taking note of while we're talking about these S's and apostrophe S's and so on is the word it, when it either is standing for a possessive where it doesn't have a apostrophe, which is probably the only case I'm aware of where there's no apostrophe, with an S to make it possessive, as opposed to when you contract it is to its, and we put the apostrophe in. So this is the only case where the apostrophe is not used for possessive, but it's used for the contraction. So that's quite different to the your and you are your. Okay, with those, practice them, write them down, and make sure that you get in the habit of using them in your writing. I know we don't type stuff out very much these days, especially with computers that do our writing for us and telephones that have voice recognition and so on. But it's worth mastering these things. Maybe write out your own little schema to help you remember and stick it on the back of your wardrobe door or something. With that, you'll get a lot less comments on your assignments saying that you haven't worked out your possessives.